Him is an interesting movie as it tells the story of a veteran football player, the greatest of all time, handing over the reins to a promising rookie. It's wild because the movie itself is produced by one of our greatest directors, and his name is all over it, but it should be a promising rookie stepping up and becoming the man. Him, if you will. I'll tell you up front that this movie missed the mark, but there was something about it that feels appropriate to sports, and the lessons that can be learned are very similar to that of finding the next prospect, the next great quarterback, the next great director. Stay with me as we study the proverbial tape and look at what worked and what didn't work on this deep bomb down the sidelines of a movie. Marlon Wayans plays Isaiah White, the 8-time champion quarterback of the fictional San Antonio Saviors. Early in his career, he suffered what appeared to be a career-ending leg injury, but managed to recover and go on to be the GOAT, or the greatest of all time. Tom Brady is the GOAT of quarterbacks in real life. Isaiah White is in this universe. He clearly seems to be towards the end of his productive time, and most great franchises will start looking for a rookie who will one day take over when the veteran is done and ready. Enter Cameron Cade, who is in college, appears to be on track to be the GOAT, and has the first overall pick written all over him. Right before the combine, Cameron is attacked by a monster who hits him in the skull and puts him in the position where he could be one serious hit away from never playing football again. This tanks his draft stock to such a degree that no team selects him. It appears that fate has decided for him. Just when all is lost, Cam receives a call to spend a week training with Isaiah White to see if he has what it takes to follow the GOAT as a member of the Saviors. Tyreek Withers plays Cam, and he does a fine job in this. I don't remember seeing him before, but he is really good at playing a quarterback in this movie. It is exceptionally hard to look like a professional quarterback if you are a mere mortal. And as far as actors go, this is one of the most realistic physical portrayals I've seen in a while. He has a little bit of a Joe Burrow look to him, only slightly with a similar buzz cut, but heavy in the mechanics. So there were times where I was fooled a little bit into who I was watching. The eternal problem is that there are only 32 people who are good enough to be the starting quarterback of a professional football team, perhaps 50 people total who have the ability to even be considered. And if you watch football, you can notice those differences. All that said, both Tyreek and Marlon are in incredible shape, and you can see the preparation that went into this movie. The story largely falls on them, but there are a few notable side characters that I wanted to touch on. Julia Fox is clearly third on the call sheet, and she does fine as the wife of Isaiah White. I think the story didn't set her up for success, but there is a noticeable difference between Julia Fox of Uncut Gems and this. Also to be mentioned, a great hack for aspiring filmmakers. We have two comedy first performers in this with Tim Heidecker and Jim Jeffries, and both of them were standouts. Comedians don't get offers like dramatists do, so you can get a relatively high-end comedian for a smaller part compared to a serious dramatic actor. There is no way to prove what is better to go with comedy over drama, but it will always be easier for the comedian to be dramatic than it would be for the dramatic to be funny. Going into this movie, I felt really bad for Justin Tipping because I was seeing the trailer for him a lot before movies at Alamo Drafthouse, and it was constantly alluding to Jordan Peele like he was the director when he was only producing. It wasn't until the end in the credits that I noticed the designation of it being a Justin Tipping film, which is given to a filmmaker who writes, directs, and edits the film. Justin's hands are on all three levels, and the fact that it was minimized made me worry about why. I don't know if there is a determination made that more people might accidentally think this is a Jordan Peele movie and see it than would see it if it was from a first-time big studio director and Justin Tipping. Certainly in the past, that has been part of the shell game. When you see produced by Steven Spielberg or Ridley Scott and try and confuse the audience. Keep the name of the big shot director on screen for several seconds and speed through the card saying directed by as quick as humanly possible. That's not to minimize Jordan Peele here at all because his company Monkey Paw produced this movie. The original script, GOAT, was on the annual blacklist before Monkey Paw purchased it, and I didn't do coverage on it or anything, but it was clearly a different script from the one that we ended up with. I don't know if the body horror element was added in once Justin joined, if that was a Jordan Peele idea, or maybe just groupthink. One way or another, I think there needs to be more story over mysticism because the horror parts weren't set up well enough to scare and not interesting enough to propel the story. In the end, Justin needs to be judged by what ends up in the final cut, and the final product was very uneven. There is a clear style here, and I enjoyed it from the technical standpoint, but it's largely flash when there is nothing to underpin it. To bring it into sports, he's Cam in a different way. He's a promising rookie, and he's not on the same ground as an all-time great. Maybe he will get there because the only way to improve is by doing it, but he doesn't seem to be playing the best version of his game. I'm a Ravens fan, and Lamar Jackson's first year, he was behind Joe Flacco at quarterback. Basically, Joe was expected to start all the season, and then the offensive game plan was built for him. But when he got injured, Lamar came in. You could tell Lamar was the better athlete and probably the better quarterback, but the offense wasn't compatible with his play, and therefore it made Lamar look awful. I think Justin Tipping has it in him to do something great, but the playbook on this one did not allow him to do his best work. So why didn't it work? I have a few thoughts. Overall, this movie was ambitious, and I knew just from the trailer that it was going to be a big swing. Justin Tipping apparently recommended Tyreek Withers watch Black Swan and Whiplash to prepare for the character. Those movies were both big swings. Last year, we had one of my favorite movies in a while and a breakthrough in body horror with The Substance. That movie is a big swing. If something in those movies didn't work perfectly, it could have unwound the whole thing. And I think that's what we have here. The story wasn't strong enough. Not enough things happened to make a compelling narrative. And when the foundation isn't built strong enough, nothing on top will hold. You have to know it works because you look like a guy calling a home run and hitting a double. You don't get credit for the double. You just don't live up to the hype. More importantly, the monsters, or however we choose to categorize them, just don't work. I get the subtext. I understand what it's trying to do, but I think the movie would be better if it were just cut out. The whole ending must go, but I don't think that's needed either. Sports is one of those things where I end up caring about personal struggle way more than anything other than friends and family. If the quarterback's mom had a stroke the day before the Super Bowl and now he's playing with a heavy heart, I feel that like it's my mom. I don't get emotional when a movie character has struggle. I want them to struggle so I can see how they get out of it. It's just like that there is so much built-in goodwill that sports provides, and there is nearly no real football in this. I explained my problems with the ending without explaining the ending, but it's really a bookend problem because the first 10-ish minutes of this movie is completely unlike the stylized movie that will follow. I wish I was late because I think I would have just enjoyed the movie more if I just started when Cam is coming down the escalator at the combine. It's not bad like campy or something like that. That I could live with. It was all the deadly sins. Bad acting, lazy dialogue, scene I've seen before 1,000 times in other movies. Can't use the NFL teams and logos, so you let Madden create a team, make some branding for you. The stadium shots, the crowd where the team wins the championship, half a dozen smaller moments all felt like AI. I'm not the AI police. I can see a use, but if I say it looks like AI, that's a shorthand for bad CGI and graphics at the very least. I get you have to set up all this exposition, but it all looked lazy and thrown together compared to the rest of the movie. It's like your team going down 21-0 10 minutes into the game. Sure, you can still win, but you need to play perfect football from that point on, and if you can play perfect football, why weren't you prepared to do it from the beginning? That's the long and short of it, though, because if Whiplash had switched Paul Reiser and J.K. Simmons, the movie wouldn't work. Look at the short film proof of concept for Whiplash. It's not as good as the movie because it isn't using every little bit of what made it work when it had the budget and the people. If I showed the short to the average person and told them this would be one of the best movies of the year, they wouldn't believe it. If I showed the average person Jamarcus Russell back in the day, they would say he's a future superstar. Needless to say, until you are in the big chair, nobody knows nothing. I fully expect Justin Tipping to recover from this. I should know. I have a great eye for promising rookies. With the number one pick, the San Antonio Saviors select The Leaderboard. Film looks great for the most part. Sound, lighting, production design, the sets, the crew, got it. I think Marlon and Tyreek and Julia all did what they needed to do to make it work, but the ground was not underneath them, and that makes sure-footed people look unnatural. A lot of comments I saw about the Blacklist script was it needed a polish. I don't think this was the one. Movie has a bad opening 10, and because the monsters don't work, the ending is a dud, and that's just about all she wrote. A big swing on a ball in the dirt. If I had to give him a rating, I would give it a 6.4. I have a lot of respect for a big swing. A big swing is what makes a lot of these films on the Leaderboard work. Marlon Wayans said about the movie that, paraphrasing, critics don't always get it right, and he has been in many classic films that critics didn't like. I agree with him on that. I also think there will be an audience for this when it eventually comes to streaming. And who knows the opinion is after the dust settles. Marlon knows he brought it the way he needed to, and he is close with Justin after this, so I'm sure he sees talent that other people can't ever see. It can be a fog of war, though, so many projects I worked on and thought this is going to be incredible, and you go to the premiere and it falls short. Other projects you think will be awful turn out great. When you're on set, when you connect with someone creatively, you think everyone will see the magic in it. Unfortunately, I missed the mark, but it has things worth seeing. Thank you so much for watching. I'm looking forward to new stuff coming out soon with Paul Thomas Anderson's One Battle After Another coming next week. If you can't wait, I have another review for you to watch right here. Have a great week, everybody. Go Ravens.